morning, girls. Another day, another daily read aloud. Today I chose a story that is a classic. It's a story that I was read to when I was little. It's a story I think everybody should read at least once, because the message in it is super duper important. So here it is. Chrysanthemum by Henkes. And I love this story for a multitude of reasons. But my favorite thing about it is this girl right here. She, throughout the story, shows us some amazing, amazing things about herself. And we get to learn a little bit, a lot of it actually, about her and why she's so special. Keep that in mind as we go through the story, because your book challenge might have a little bit of something to do with it. Let's take a peek. The story is Chrysanthemum. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' life. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. "Her name must be everything she is," said her mother. "Her name must be absolutely perfect," said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. It's a very unique name, right? It's not a name that you hear a lot. You can tell she's growing into quite the wonderful young lady. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. It's a long name too. Look, she has to squeeze it in there. And even her cake has to be pretty long to fit her whole name. Still, beautiful name nonetheless. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect. And then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. "Hooray!" said Chrysanthemum. "School!" But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. I wonder why they would do that. Let's see, they have Mrs. Chud, they have Dawn, they have Eve, Lois, Al, Les, Kay, Max. Oh, we have a Max. Sue, Bill, Pat, Tom, Sam, Ken, that's what we call Kendall, right? Joe, Rita, Victoria, and Chrysanthemum. "It's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on your name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "You're named after a flower." Chrysanthemum wilted. Kind of means that she just kind of sank. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. "That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet," Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Judd. Now put your head down. This Victoria character is not being very nice. Definitely making Chrysanthemum feel like her name is no good. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag, and I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said Mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. She's definitely not feeling too great about herself right now. Hopefully Mom and Dad can cheer her up. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. So now Chrysanthemum's starting to wonder what it would be like if she had a different name, one that's shorter and more common. But that's not who she is, right? She should be proud of who she is. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. So they're picking on her again. Ugh. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Ugh. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Judd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. You can tell she's so upset she's covering her ears. She doesn't want to hear that. It's definitely not a kind thing to say to someone. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, pish, said her mother. They're just jealous, and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father, which are all words to mean that they're jealous. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs, kisses, and parcheesi. So she had another rough day at school because kids were making fun of her name. How awful. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. Another gloomy day, it seems, for poor Chrysanthemum. Poor thing. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression, so they're trying to show her, like, I'm the best. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musical. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Jo was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Probably not the best feeling to be made fun of for being named after a flower and then being told that you're a daisy in a play. I'm sure that doesn't make her feel great. Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Chrysanthemum's a daisy! Jo, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Jo. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. Can tell she's definitely feeling sad. Not a good feeling at all. My name is long, said Mrs. Twinkle. It is, said Jo. My name would scarcely fit on my name tag, said Mrs. Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And, said Mrs. Twinkle, I'm named after a flower, too. You are, said Victoria. Yes, said Mrs. Twinkle. My name is Delphinium. Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Look how much happier she is. Her and her teacher have something in common, right? They both have names that are flowers and long. And she likes Chrysanthemum's name. She's even thinking of it for her own baby. Jo, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Ugh, call me Marigold, said Jo. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. You can tell she's much happier now. Overall, the musical was a huge success. Chrysanthemum was absolutely perfect as a daisy. Victoria made the only mistake. She completely forgot her lines as the dainty fairy queen. Chrysanthemum thought it was wildly funny, and she giggled throughout the entire dance of flowers. Eventually, Mrs. Twinkle gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and of course, she named her Chrysanthemum. The end. So, like I said, I absolutely love that story. For obvious reasons, I think it's just a really fun story. It's wonderful, and it reminds us that we're all special and unique in our very own way. And our names included, right? So for your book challenge, I have a special job for you. You are going to make something called an acrostic poem. Okay? Looks like this. I have my name along the side, and then I'm going to come up with words to describe myself that start with those letters. And you'll get to see mine. Just a second. So for my acrostic poem, I took things that I know about myself and I used it in my name. So Lorenz, lovely, odd, I can be a little strange sometimes. Reader, I love to read. Exciting, I love to do exciting things. Nice, I tend to be very nice. And then zany, I'm a little crazy sometimes. But you guys are going to get to make your own acrostic poems for your book challenge today if you choose to. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. Hopefully it's something wonderful, just as wonderful as my friend Chrysanthemum's name. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I'll see you tomorrow for our last read aloud of the week. Let's keep reading together. Bye, guys!